Namaste. So tonight I'm going to read Book 9, Chapter 8 on the greatness of Kali in the Maha Devi Bhagavatam. Om Vakratu Namakaya Kuti Surisam. Yom Tatsat. Narayana said, part of Saraswati descended in this Bharata, Punya Bhumi, land of merits, owing to the curse of Ganga, and she remained in full in Vishnu's region, the abode of Vaikuntha. She is named Bharati on account of her coming to Bharata. She is called Brahmi because she is dear to Brahma, and she is called Vani as she presides over speech. Hari is seen everywhere, in tanks and wells and running streams, i.e. in Saras. Because he resides in Saras, therefore he is called Sarasvan. Vani is the Shakti of that Sarasvan, therefore she is denominated Saraswati. The river Saraswati is a very sacred Tirtha. She is the burning fire to the fuel of sins, of sinners, O Narada. Through the curse of Saraswati, the Devi Ganga also assumed the form of a river in part. She was brought down to this earth at the request of Bhagirath. Hence, she is called Bhagirathi. While Ganga was rushing down to the earth, Shiva, capable to bear the great rush of her, he held her on his head at the request of the Mother Earth. Lakshmi also, through the curse of Saraswati, came in parts Bharata as the river Padmavati. But she remained in full with Hari. Lakshmi appeared also in her other part as the well-known daughter Tulasi of the king Dharmadvaja in India. Last of all, through Bharati's curse and by the command of Sri Hari, she turned into the Tulasi tree, purifying the whole world. Remaining for 5,000 years of Kali, all them will quit their river appearances and go back to Hari. By the command of Sri Hari, all the Tirthas save Kashi and Brindavan will go along with them to Vaikuntha. Next, at the expiry of the 10,000 years of Kali, Saligram Sila, the stone piece worshipped as Narayana, Shiva and Shiva Shakti and Purusottama, Jagannatha, will leave the soil of Bharata and go to their respective places, i.e. the Mahatmas. The Mahatmayas of those will be extinct from Bharata. There will then cease to be the saints of Shiva, Sakta, Ganapatya and Vaisnava sects, 18 Puranas, the blowing of conch shells, auspicious signs, Shraddhas, Tarpanas, and all the rites and ceremonies dictated by the Vedas. The worship and glorification of the gods, the recitation of their praises, their names will be extinct. The Vedas, with their Amgas, will no longer be heard of. All these will disappear with them. The assembly of the sadhus, the true dharma, the four Vedas, the village devas and devis, the vratas, vows, the practicing of the austerities, fasting, all will disappear. All will be addicted to the Vamachara ritual, the left-hand ritual tantric form of worship, sarcastically use in the sense of drinking wine and eating flesh, etc. They will speak falsehood and be deceitful. If anybody worships, his worship will be void of tulsi leaves. Almost all will be deceitful, cruel, vain, egoistic, thievish, and mischievous. Men will be at variance with one another. Women will be at variance with one another. No fear will exist in marriage ties. Properties will be only of those that will make them, i.e., they will cease to be any inheritance from father to son and so forth. Husbands will be obedient to their wives. Unchaste women will be in every house. Wives will rebuke their husbands by incessant noisings and chidings. Wives will be the sole mistresses of houses, and husbands will stand before them as servants with folded palms. Fathers-in-law and mothers-in-law will be their servants. The brothers of wives and their friends will be the managers of the household affairs. But there will be no friendship with one's own class fellows. The brothers and friends of the house owners, masters of the house, will appear quite strangers, as if they are newcomers. Without the command of the housewives, the masters of the houses will be unable to do anything. The division of caste, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra, will entirely disappear. Far from practicing Sandhya, Bandhanam, and other daily practices, the Brahmanas will cease to hold the holy threads even on their bodies. The four color classes will practice the doings of the Mlechas, read the Sastras of the Mlechas, and forsake their own Sastras. The Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas will become the slaves of Sudras, will become their cooks, runners, and carriers of buffaloes. Everyone will be devoid of truth. Earth will not yield any grains, trees will not yield any fruits, and women will be issueless. The cows will not yield milk, even if there be a little milk. Ghee will not come out of it. The affection between husband and wife will die out of the families, will be devoid of truth. The king will not wield any power. The subjects will be overburdened with taxes. The ever-flowing big rivers, the petty streams, the caves of mountains, all will gradually have very little water in them. The four varnas will be devoid of dharma and punya, merit, virtue. 1 in a lakh may be virtuous. Afterwards, that too will cease. Men, women, boys, all will be ugly and deformed. They will utter bad words and vile sounds. Some villages and towns will be completely deserted by men and will look terribly at some others. Few cottages and few inhabitants will be seen. Villages and towns will be jungles, and jungles will become filled with men. The inhabitants of the forests will become heavily taxed and disconsolate. The beds of rivers and lakes will become dry owing to want of rains and will be cultivated. The kulinas of high families will become very low. The whole earth will be filled with liars, untruthful cheats, and hypocrites. The lands, though cultivated well, will yield grains in name. Those who are well known as the millionaires, they will become poor, and those who are devoted to the devas will be atheists. The town folk will have no trace of mercy. Rather, they will hate and envy their neighbors and turn out murderers of men. In the Kali age, males and females will be everywhere, of a dwarfish stature, diseased short-lived, and of very little youthful virility. The hairs will turn out grey no sooner the people reach their 16th year, and they will be very old when they become 20 years old. The girls of 8 years will have menstruation and will become pregnant. They will deliver every year. Old age will attack them when they become 16 years old. Some women will have their husbands and children living. Otherwise, almost all will be barren, childless. The 4 Varanas will sell their daughters. The paramours of the mothers' wives, sons' wives, daughters, and sisters will be the source of support to them all. No one will be able without money to collect the merits by repeating the name of Hari. Persons will make gifts for name and fame and ultimately will take back what they had made as gifts. If they be any gifts made by one's own self or by one's forefathers or for a deva purpose or for Brahmins or for the families of the Gurus, there will not be found wanting attempts to take back those gifts. Some will go to daughters, some to mother-in-law, some to the wives of sons, some to sisters, some to mothers of co-wives. Some will go to the brothers' wives in every house. Those who are unfit to be mixed will be mixed with, excepting one's mother. In Kali Yuga, who is whose wife and who is whose husband? There will be no certainty who is whose subject and what village is to whom. There will be no surety that such a property belongs to such and such a man. All will turn out to be liars, licentious, thieves, envious of others' wives, and murderers of men. In the houses of the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, the 3 higher caste, the current of sin will flow. They will live by selling lac, iron, and salts, prohibited by the Sastras. The Brahmins will drive buffaloes, burn the dead bodies of the Sudras, eat the food of the Sudras, and go to unchaste women. There will be no more faith existing in the 5 Rishi Yajnas. Almost every Brahmin will not observe the vows of Amavasya, Nisi Palana. The holy threads will be cast away, and the Sandhya Bandhanam and cleanliness and good practices will cease altogether. The unchaste women who deal in giving loans, etc., and live on interest, and the procuresses during menstruation will cook in Brahmin families. There will be no distinction of food, no distinction of wombs, no distinction of ashramas, and no distinction of persons. All will turn out mlechas, O Narada. Thus, when the Kali will have its full play, the whole world will be filled with mlechas. The trees will be 1 hand high, and the men will be of the size of a thumb. Then the most powerful Bhagavan Narayana will incarnate in his part in the house of a Brahmin named Vishnu Jasa as his son, mounted on a long horse, holding a long sword. He will make the world free of the mlechas in 3 nights. Then he will disappear from the face of the earth, and she will be without any sovereign and be filled with robbers. There will be incessant rain for 6 nights, and it will rain and rain, and the whole earth will be deluged. No traces of men, houses, and trees. After this, the 12 suns will rise simultaneously, and by their rays the whole water will be dried up, and the earth will become level. Thus the dreadful Kali will pass away when the Satya Yuga will come back. Tapasya and the true religion and Sattva Guna will prevail again. The Brahmins will practice tapasya. They will be devoted to Dharma and the Vedas. The women will be chaste and religious in every house. Again, the wise and intelligent Kshatriyas devoted to the Brahmanas will occupy the royal thrones, and their might, devotion to Dharma, and love for good deeds will increase. The Vaishyas will again go on with their trades and their devotion to their trade, and the Brahmins will be re-established. The Sudras too will be again virtuous and serve the Brahmins. Again, the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas and their families will have bhakti towards the Devi, be initiated in Devi mantras, and all will meditate on the Devi. Again, they will be spread the knowledge of the Vedas, the Smritis, and the Puranas. All will go to their wives in menstruation periods. No adharma, unrighteousness, will exist, and the dharma will reign in full, with all the parts, kalas, complete. When the Treta Yuga comes, the dharma will be three-footed. When the Dwarpara Yuga will come, the dharma will be two-footed. And when Kali will begin, the dharma will be one-footed. And when Kali will reign supreme, no dharma will exist, even in name. O Narada, now I will speak of time, the 7 days of the week, Sunday and the 16th Tithis, Pratipada, and the 12 months, Veshaka, and the 16th and the 6 seasons, summer, and the 2 fortnights, dark and bright, and the 2 ayanas, northern and southern, are rendered in vogue. One day consists of 4 praharas. One night consists of 4 praharas. A day and night constitute one so-called day. 30 such days make 1 month. In the computation of time, 5 kinds of years, varasas, were already mentioned. In the 8th skanda, as the Satya, Treta, Dwarpara, and Kali roll on turn by turn, so the days, months, and years also roll on in turn. 1 day, according to the Devas, is equal to 1 year according to men. 360 human yogas equal to 1 Deva Yoga. 71 Deva Yogas make 1 Manvantara. The life period of Indra, the Lord of Sachi, is 1 Manvantara. 28 Indras lives equal to 1 day of Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb Brahma. 108 such years equal to the life of 1 Brahma. When this Brahma dies, there is the Prakriti, the Prakrita Pralaya. The earth is not visible then. The dissolution of Prakriti takes place. The whole Brahmanda is deluged by water. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, and the other wise rishis get diluted in Parabrahma, whose substance is all truth and consciousness. That time the Prakriti Devi too gets merged in Parabrahma. The fall of Brahma and the dissolution of Prakriti are called the Prakrita Pralaya. The duration of this Pralaya is 1 Nimesa of the Parabrahma Mula Prakriti united with Maya. All the Brahmandas, universes, are destroyed at this time. When this Nimesa expires, the creation begins again in due order. So one cannot count the endless numbers of times when this creation and dissolution work are going on. So who can tell how many kalpas had passed away? Or how many kalpas will come? How many Brahmandas were created? Or how many Brahmandas will be created? Who will be able to count how many Brahmas? how many Vishnus or how many Maheshwaras there have been. But one and only one Parabrahma Parameshwara, the great God, is the Supreme Lord of these countless Brahmandas. The Parameshwara of the nature of existence, consciousness and bliss is the highest spirit of all. All others, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, the great Virat, the smaller Virat, all are his parts. This Brahma is Mula Prakriti, and from that has appeared Shri Krishna, the Lord of his left half, which is woman, Ardhana Eshwara. It is she that divided herself into two forms in her one form. She resides as the two-armed Krishna in the region of Goloka and as the four-armed Narayana in Vaikunta. All the things from Brahma, the highest, to the mere grass, the lowest, all are originated from Prakriti. And all the Prakriti-born things are transient. Thus, the true, eternal Parabrahma, beyond the three gunas, the source of all creation, whose substance is all will, is the only substance beyond the region of Prakriti. He is without upadis, conditions as time, space, causation and attributes. He is without any form, and the forms that he assumes, they are for showing his grace to the devotees only. The lotus-born Brahma is able by his power of knowledge to create the Brahmanda. It is by his grace that Shiva, the lord of the yogis, is named Mrityunjaya, the conqueror of death, the destroyer of all and the knower of all tattvas. By his tapas, Shiva has realized Parabrahma and therefore has become the Lord of all-knowing, endowed with great vibhutis, lordly powers, the sayer of all, omnipresent, the protector of all, the bestower of all prosperities. The devotion and service towards Parabrahma have alone made Sri Vishnu the Lord of all, and it is through the power of Parabrahma that Mahamaya, Prakriti Devi, has become omnipotent of the goddess of all. Bhagavati Durga has got his grace by her devotion and service to him and has become Mula Prakriti of the nature of being, consciousness and bliss. And so has the Devi Savitri, the mother of the Vedas, become the presiding deity of the Vedas, and she is worshipped by the Brahmanas and the knowers of the Vedas. That she presides over all the branches of knowledge is worshipped by all the learned assemblies, and by the whole universe is the result only of worshipping the Prakriti Devi. That Lakshmi has become the bestower of all wealth and the presiding deity of all the villages and the mistress of all, worshipped by all, and the bestower of sons to all, is also the result of worshipping her. Thus, it is through the worship of Prakriti that Durga, the destroyer of all calamities and troubles, has appeared from the left side of Sri Krishna, and Radha has become the presiding deity of his prana, vital airs. And she is worshipped by all and possessed of all knowledge. It is by the worship of Shakti that Radhika has so much excellent in love, has become the presiding deity of the prana of Krishna, has got love and respect, has been placed on his breast, and is exceedingly beautiful. With the object of getting Krishna for her husband, she practiced severe austerities for 1,000 Deva years on the mountain Satasringa in Bharata to get the Mula Prakriti's grace. And when the Shakti Mula Prakriti became graciously pleased towards her, Sri Krishna, seeing Radhika increasing in beauty like the crescent moon, took her to his breast and out of tenderness wept and granted her highest boons, so very rare to others, and said, "O beautiful one, you better remain always in my breast and devoted to me among all my wives. Let you be superior to them in all good fortune, respect, love and glory. From today, you are my greatest, best wife. I will love you as the best amongst them all. O dear, always I will be submissive to you and fulfill what you say. Thus saying, Shri Krishna selected her as his wife without any co-wives and made her dear to his heart. The other Devis, besides the 5 Prakritis already mentioned, also derived superiorities by serving Mula Prakriti. O Muni, what shall I say? Everyone reaps the fruits as he practices tapasya. Bhagavati Durga practiced on the Himalayas tapasya for 1000 Deva years and meditated on the lotus feet of Mula Prakriti, and so has come to be worshipped by all. The Devi Saraswati practiced tapasya for 1 lakh Deva years and is come to be respected by all. The Devi Lakshmi practiced tapasya at Puskara for 100 divine yogas and by the grace of Mula Prakriti has become the bestower of wealth to all. The Devi Savitri worshipped Shakti for 60,000 divine years in the Malaya mountain and is respected and worshipped by all. O Bibhu, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara worshipped Shakti for 100 Manvantaras and so have become the preservers, etc. of this world. Shri Krishna practiced for 10 Manvantaras terrible austerities and therefore obtained his position in the region of Goloka and is remaining there today in greatest bliss. Dharmadeva worshipped Shakti with devotion for 10 Manvantaras and has become the lives of all, worshipped by all and the receptacle of all. O Muni, thus all, whether the Devis, Devas, Munis, kings, Brahmanas, all have got their respect in this world by the worship of Shakti. O Devarishi, I have thus described to you all that I heard from the mouth of my Guru, in accordance with the rules of the Vedas. What more do you want to hear? Here ends the 8th chapter of the 9th book on the greatness of Kali, in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vedvyasa. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kaparita Lakshmi. Tuya Mata, Chapita Tuya, Tuya Bandusha, Chasakatu.